so you did it. You poured everything you had into that one perfect prototype. It works, it's brilliant, and you're thinking, this is going to change the world. But hold on, now comes the real challenge. How do you take that one-of-a-kind marvel and make thousands, maybe even millions of them? All right, let's dive into that journey, from prototype to production.
And really, this is the question, isn't it? Building one is one thing. Building a million? That is a whole different universe. The leap from a single unit to mass production it's massive. We're talking hidden costs, insane logistics, and all sorts of technical traps. This is the exact spot where so many great ideas, unfortunately, just fizzle out.
So how do you actually make that leap without falling? Well, we've got a roadmap for you. First, we'll tackle the prototype to product gap. Then, we'll get into designing for the factory. After that, we'll cover the crucial test run. Next up is navigating rules and partners. Then, we'll expose the 6 biggest scaling traps. And finally, we'll give you a blueprint for success. Let's get into it.
All right, section 1, the prototype to product gap. That it works moment is just the beginning.
Okay, get ready for this number because it's a big one. 75%. That's right. 3/4 of your total manufacturing cost is decided, like locked in, way back in the design phase. That's kind of wild when you think about it. Every single choice you make early on, materials, parts, how it all fits together, it creates this massive financial ripple effect later on.
And this really brings us to what I call the prototype trap. Look, your prototype, it was probably a mix of off-the-shelf parts, maybe some 3D printing, right? You built it to prove the concept could work. You probably weren't thinking about long-term durability or how fast someone could assemble it. And this quote from Cortex Design just nails it. If something fails in prototype, it will likely fail in production. Okay, that makes sense. But the second part is key. If something passes in prototype, it's not guaranteed to succeed at scale. A pass in the lab means absolutely nothing when you're trying to churn out thousands under the stress of a real factory floor.
Okay, section 2, designing for the factory. So how do you get out of that trap? Well, let me introduce you to your secret weapon, DFM.
So what is DFM? Design for manufacturing. The idea is actually super simple, but it's incredibly powerful. It just means you need to start thinking like a manufacturer from day one. It's all about taking the real-world limits and the opportunities of the factory floor and baking them right into your design process, way before you ever make a single tool.
DFM really boils down to 5 core ideas. First up, simplify your design. Seriously, fewer parts means less to assemble, less to buy, and less to go wrong. Simple. Second, standardization. Use common, off-the-shelf parts whenever you can. Trust me, it'll save you from so many supply chain headaches. Third, make it easy to assemble. Think about using shapes and features that guide parts together so it's physically impossible to put it together the wrong way. Fourth, be real. Match what you're designing to what your factory can actually do, not what you wish they could do. And last but not least, sustainability. Think about how your product will be taken apart and recycled right from the start.
And does all this work actually pay off? Oh yeah, big time. We're not talking about small, tiny gains here. Companies that really nail DFM can cut their manufacturing costs by up to 35%. They can shorten their development cycles by a quarter or more. They avoid 80% of those painful late-stage design changes. And maybe most impressively, they can boost their first pass yield. That's the number of perfect units off the line, from a decent 85% to an incredible 98% or higher.
All right, on to section 3, the crucial test run. This is all about how you de-risk your investment before you go big. Okay, so you've designed for the factory, but before you hit that big green go button on a full production run, you need a pilot run. So what's the difference? Well, think of the pilot run as your full dress rehearsal. You're using the actual production line, the actual tools, but you're only making a small batch. The goal here isn't to sell these units. It's to hunt down and fix every single problem you can find. The production run? That's opening night. That's the main event. You're going full scale, but with a process you've already proven works. Seriously, don't skip the pilot run. It's the best insurance policy you can buy against a total disaster.
Moving on to section 4, navigating rules and partners. You've got to find the right help and, just as important, stay compliant.
First things first, partners. You've basically got 3 main flavors to choose from. There's the ODM, an original design manufacturer. This is kind of like white labeling. They have a product, you put your brand on it, easy. Then there's the OEM, or original equipment manufacturer. They work with you to build your design, bringing their expertise to the table.
And finally, you've got the CM, or contract manufacturer. This is a pure for-hire deal. You give them everything: the design, the IP, the bill of materials, which is your master shopping list of parts, and they just build it for you. It really all comes down to a trade-off. How much control do you want versus how much convenience do you need?
All right, now for the rules. And let's be clear, product certification is not optional. It's a legal must-do. The path usually looks something like this. First, you have to figure out exactly which regulations apply to your product where you want to sell it. Then you got to prepare a mountain of technical documents. Step 3 is testing your product at a proper lab. After that, you submit everything for review. If all goes well, congrats, you get certified. But it's not over. A lot of these certifications require you to keep up with surveillance to prove you're still compliant down the road.
Okay, Section 5, the 6 scaling traps. Let's talk about the most common reasons hardware startups just don't make it.
First up, trap number 1, terrible documentation. If your bill of materials, your master parts list, is wrong, or your circuit board files are missing details, you're forcing your manufacturer to guess. And let me tell you, guessing on a factory floor is a recipe for very expensive mistakes and very frustrating delays.
Trap number 2, ignoring compliance. So many people treat certifications as just some paperwork you do at the end. No, it's not. Getting certified for things like electrical safety or radio emissions can take months and cost a small fortune. And if you fail a test at the last minute, you might be looking at a total redesign, and your product is literally illegal to sell.
And that brings us to trap number 3, ignoring environmental rules. Look, regulations like RHOS, which is about hazardous materials, or WEE, which deals with electronic waste, they are not optional suggestions. They are mandatory in huge markets like Europe. If you don't comply, you're looking at fines and your shipments getting stuck at the border.
Trap 4 is underestimating the big leagues. If you're trying to build something for the medical or aerospace industries, the rules are on a whole different planet. You need what's called total traceability. That means you have to be able to track every single tiny component from the day it was made to the final product. This is not something you can just tack on at the end. It has to be part of your DNA from day one.
Okay, trap number 5 is all about process. You know that spreadsheet you're using to track parts for your prototype? It's great, but it will absolutely 100% fail you when you're trying to manage thousands of parts, all with different lead times. Without a real production planning system, you are flying blind. You'll end up with part shortages, which means your production line grinds to a halt.
And finally, the 6th trap. This one is a silent killer, and it happens right in your own stockroom. Sensitive electronics can be destroyed by something as simple as static electricity or a little too much humidity. The worst part is, the damage might not show up right away. It creates these hidden time bombs that only go off months later, when the product is already in your customer's hands. Not good.
Okay, last section, your blueprint for success. We've talked about the gaps, the strategies, the tests, and all the traps. So how do we pull this all together? The answer is a process called NPI.
NPI, or New Product Introduction, is basically your master checklist for manufacturing. It's the structured system that connects every single thing we've talked about. Your design validation, those DFM reviews, planning for your pilot run, all of it. This is the process that makes sure nothing falls through the cracks. It's how you turn the potential chaos of a product launch into something controlled, predictable, and ultimately successful.
And that really brings us full circle. Your idea? It's real. You proved it with that prototype. But the real question now is your process ready? Are you ready to scale that brilliant idea and share it with the world? Because at the end of the day, in manufacturing, a great idea is only as good as the process that brings it to life.